there's something called the Gini coefficient. It is a measure of income distribution across the population. It serves as a gauge of economic inequality or income distribution in any community. So the lower the coefficient, if it's 0, for instance, it means that is perfect inequality, perfect equality in that country. If it's 1, that's the extreme. That means that's perfect inequality. It means that there's a whole group of people that have way more, and there's a whole group of people that have way less. And so I want to show that measurement in the next slide. Now, let me clarify one thing. A country that scores high on, actually, a country that scores low on inequality, it doesn't mean that that country is economically viable. It just means that the population, all of them have the same equality in terms of their economic income. So don't assume that if you have low inequality, it means that countries are African. So,
but you made a very important input that I want to explore that we don't talk about in Nigeria. That was an input made by Professor Corrado Gini, you know, the man that talked a lot about the Gini coefficient. And how can we balance out the Gini coefficient in Nigeria? Because it's always skewed and it's indicative of many factors. The rentier system, I can go on and on and on, and the perceived inefficiencies that herald our nation.
Yeah. But you know, we have a remarkable example, Brazil. Brazil used to be one of the worst cases of the Gini index, where the bottom decile and the top decile, the gap was so huge in Brazil. And we saw the consequence for Brazil. For a long time in Brazil, the insecurity was such that if you were a ghetto boy and your football talents showed, and you were hired by Santos or somebody, the first money you earned was usually paid as ransom for your mother. They go and kidnap your mother, and you use the money to pay her ransom. And I used to joke in Nigeria, this thing will begin to happen in Nigeria. Not 2 or 3 years after I said it, what's his name in Bielsa, the football player, his mother got kidnapped. And I said, you see, there is nothing new under the sun. You can predict societies that are not well run, what the outcomes will be. But how did Brazil eventually begin to deal with those kinds of things? There was this time when security was so bad in Brazil, where the rich were fantabulously wealthy and the poor were mendaciously deprived. And you got to a point, the rich, to go to work, had to travel in a motorcade of security men in front, security men behind. Even inside the car he was traveling, they'll be in front and beside, he will sit in the middle. That's how bad it got. I actually watched a BBC documentary some years ago about that. You know, at a point it was just not enough. They started flying in from their suburb palaces by helicopter onto the rooftop of their office blocks in Sao Paulo. Now, what happened in Brazil? You get to a point, Brazil was a permanent country of great potential that never seemed to arrive where it was potentially supposed to arrive at. And the scholars, Brazilian scholars, generally all became part of a movement in international political economy study that was called dependency theory. They were called the dependistas. And one of the most famous of the dependistas, in fact, their father, in many ways, was a sociologist, economist, Henrique Fernando Cardoso. And Cardoso was at the Economic Commission for Latin America and led the great wave of thought. I got a chance as a graduate student in the late 70s to be at a conference where Cardoso made a presentation. And I recall something I said to him, and he remembered it when I met him after he finished being president of Brazil. And I said to him, Professor Cardoso, your thesis on dependency is fantastic, but for me it is elegant theorizing with no redemptive value.
I want to be your president. It is not about fate or destiny. It started out with me getting angry with the oppressive system so early in life.
And we have said this, that tomorrow does not belong to us. Today is our day. We have been cheated for too long.
Living in a country without electricity, water, and basic needs for life hardened one and I grew up in arms, joining radical movements and leading many.
Hands up for the killing stop! Hands up for the killing stop! Free Sheikh Zakzaki! Free Sheikh Zakzaki! Freedom coming, my struggle! Freedom!
Many believe one needs to join the bandwagon, who are merchants of greed and unbridled power, to be able to lead. But I dare to be different.
We should be talking about how to fix our constitution through a referendum. Because if we had a constitution that is made for the people and by the people, there is no way, like the South Africans have after apartheid, that we will have a bill like this standing at the people's building here in Abuja. It would never have been considered. And it will mean that some of the people who have this kind of outdated ideas would never have made it to even our Senate. That is the truth. The final thing I want to say is that this bill is dead. We are here to bury it.
Taking the hard ways of building a party with clear-cut ideas and principles.
We are here today to announce the launch of our political party, the African Action Congress.
We stormed the markets, held down halls, and moved from street to street, through hamlets, villages, towns, and cities.
I am very, very excited to be in Yola today.
They say getting electricity is rocket science, but we say we can build original grids, mini grids, and get mass megawatts to power homes, meet the needs of small and big businesses. They say we must deregulate or pay trillions in fuel subsidies. But we say Nigeria has enough resources to build at least 3 refineries in 3 years, while we upgrade to global standards to old ones and invest in renewable energy and clean the messes of gas flaring in Ogoni and other parts of Niger Delta region. They also say terrorism has come to stay. We say no.
Boko Haram does not recognize tribe or religion.
Yes, sir.
Bandits don't recognize tribes or religion.
Exactly.
They kill whomever they want. But we don't want everybody to be dead before we act.
What are we here for? You know, some people will be asking, why come to the neighbor house? Before now, it is very known to most of us that when things like this occur in our great country, the Nigerian labor will rise up to the occasion. But today, the case, that is not the case, because they have sold out. And we have come here to tell them that if they don't join us, we are taking over. If they don't join us, we are taking over.
We start with building real societal and economic security by ensuring mass social welfare packages and employment opportunities for the young ones. And then rebuilding our society agencies to meet the challenges of policing and securing our homeland. Our economy is today in shambles, but it is caused by our rulers who blindly follow Bretton Woods institutions that are killing the day-to-day grassroots economies. They tell you they have structures, but the rogues share the money to bribe voters in the elections. We can build a movement that will stop vote buying. What is needed is that the people need a true alternative they can stick out their necks for. There is no one who can attach us to any flank or string of the ruling class today. We have been so different, from the anti-SAP struggles to the pro-democracy, to anti-fuel subsidy removal, mass actions, to revolution now.
I'm just giving you a tip of the iceberg. We have come here to say, please, so the money they gave us, we don't want, because it was given to us at one point. We don't want the money, they should take their money before the end of today. If we don't take their money before the end of today, we are going to give it to Femi Falana, so that he can use it to augment part of the legal bills of Towore.
And to the NSARS amongst others. Hope is not too expensive. Faith is like a dream, but faced with the hopelessness in the choices they want to force on us again. Let's take a new drive to build a new Nigeria, just as they gave up on the youths before NSARS. And we shocked them. We can do the same again. I am Omoyele Sowore. I dare to be different. I will not let you down. Sowore for president.
I believe that as we stand today, the biggest challenge of Nigeria for me is that its intellectuals have retreated. Its middle class have become complicit because they feel that they can construct their isolation wards, that they can build their own local governments, they can buy SUVs to overcome the vibrance of intellectual Nigeria in the 70s that saw the ABU academics dominate the new Nigerian. The Lagos-Ibadan axis take over the Lagos-Ibadan press area. That needs to return. The Nigerian middle must take back their country. And we've been talking about the constitution. People say, what can you do? National Assembly will not do it. It is against their interest. Italy has just slashed the size of its National Assembly. They can afford it much better than us. But we say, what can we do? National Assembly will not implement it. We can do something. At some point this morning, I am going to announce a broad national constitution review committee on behalf of the NCF.